Hey everyone. So welcome to Blooming Diaries journal entry number 2 commentary. So I'm gonna not be talking too loud and I'm not gonna be long. Just kind of, chilling in the car. Just came from dropping one of my daughters off to school, and the baby is resting a little bit. And so I wanted to do this commentary before releasing journal entry number 2, because when I went back to review Blooming Diaries journal number 2, a section of it is gone. The end of it, well, I don't want to say the end of it, but some parts of it is gone that I thought was still recording when I recorded it, and it's not. And so, for clarity, I wanted to do this commentary to bring greater understanding of that particular Blooming Diaries journal entry. So for Blooming Diaries journal entry number 2, I'm pretty much in that video discussing an experience that I had when I winded up having to go to the ER because my blood pressure had gone up. And so, so some years ago, I was dealing with some blood pressure challenges, and my doctor and I were able to get my blood pressure under control through diet and exercise, as well as myself engaging in spiritual activities. And so I was able to get my blood pressure under control within my pregnancy, around I think it was the 4th or 5th month of pregnancy. My blood pressures went really high, and I went to the ER. They kept me for a few days, and Blooming Diaries journal number 2 is talking about my experience. So pretty much, when they kept me, they had different doctors from different divisions come and chat with me or whatever. They monitor my blood pressure. They were monitoring my urine output. They were monitoring my vitals. Just, a whole host of things, because they wanted to make sure that I did not have preeclampsia. And they wanted to make sure that preeclampsia was not going to follow within the next few weeks. They wanted to make sure that I was not going to have the baby prematurely. And so, because I was in the labor and delivery area of the hospital, labor and delivery were one of the folks who came and talked to me. The NICU team were one of the folks who came and talked to me. And the folks from the NICU team, not all of them, but it was just one particular doctor, but it was a couple of them that kind of like pissed me off. And so I chat about that in Blooming Diaries journal entry number 2. But at the point where it cuts off, it's kind of like when I become a little more emotional and teary-eyed, and I start crying, and I'm chatting about how this one particular doctor felt the need to, I want to say on 2 or 3 occasions, come to me, talking to me about if I was to wind up having to be induced and have the baby early, at that early stage of pregnancy, the outcome of the baby surviving. And she just felt the need to keep reiterating that, what she would ask, do you want us to, if need be, perform a C-section and do everything we can to save the baby? And I was like, of course, yes, if need be. And her other thing was, like some parents, they like to just spend those few minutes once the baby is born with the baby and just allow the baby to pass in their arms, because the outcome is very slim of the baby surviving. And so after like the last time of her coming in there, I became emotional by constantly hearing that. It was traumatizing. And by this time, my partner was not present. I was still choosing my doula and everything like that. And so, yeah, I was like very traumatized and in tears by the third time. Just, at the thought of me giving birth and having to hold my baby and let my baby pass my arms. But by this time, I said to the NICU team that was in it, like, this is like the second or third time y'all come in here, y'all said the same exact thing, like, pretty much, no, I'm not feeling it. Like, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? And keep on reiterating the same thing. I mean, I know the point, but I'm just like bringing to them, like, this is not something. I understand you need to make mothers aware of the possibilities, but to keep on coming and reiterating, now you have a different agenda, and I let them know. I was like, I'm not having a discussion with y'all anymore until the father comes and until my doula comes, and so after that was said, they did not come back and bother me. And by the time they did come back, the father was there. I had finally selected who I wanted my doula to be, because I was already in conversation with her about the possibility of her being my doula. And by the way in which she handled the situation of me being in the ER on emergency notice, I kind of felt like yeah, this could possibly be my doula, you know what I mean? Because she was like really on point and there for me. So long story short, the part of the video that's cut off is just pretty much me stating the outcome of what happened from the point of them telling me the possibilities of delivering early. And because with preeclampsia, it's possible. For one, I was in the ER, my blood pressure was up, but even it was coming down. It was coming down pretty much with no medication. It was coming down with pretty much rest and me hydrating and trying to relax and stuff like that. But anyway, long story short, if my blood pressure would have kept elevating, then I would go into a state of being considered preeclampsia. And with that, depending upon how serious that is, they do have to induce you and send you into labor right away, because it can be harmful to you, to the mother and the child, or the child. And so I get that, but considering that things were looking pretty good, and that, you keep coming in here and telling this to me, you have a different agenda. You're trying to take my mind somewhere that I don't want it to be. And so I let them know, like, I'm not having this discussion with you anymore until the father gets here, until my doula gets here. By the time they came back to me to have to talk to me, not to necessarily have a discussion, because they didn't talk about it anymore. The father was there. He was present, and pretty much the vibes were totally different. Of course, they was letting me know that, they were going to release me. Things were looking good. There's no signs of preeclampsia, things of that nature. But even though they was telling me they were going to release me, the energy was just still different. It was an energy shift. And I know it was because the father was present. And I remember once they left out the room, me talking to the father. And yeah, he didn't think that. I was letting him know. I was like, yeah, their energy is totally different. I said, I think it's because, you're here. And he didn't think so. And I was like, it is. I was like, because their energy was totally different when it was just me by myself. And that's how it is. Well, I'm not going to say with all doctors or all medical officials, because you do have some that are truly there because they want to make a difference. You know what I mean? They want to do positivity for the people that come into their lives that need assistance and need help. But then you have some people that's there for their own agendas, and their goal is to push forward their own agenda by any means necessary. And so you have to watch out for those type of medical officials. And so pretty much the part of the video that was cut off was just kind of like me expressing things that transpired from the time that they was telling me about if I was to deliver early and all that kind of stuff, making me very upset. And so yeah, so that was that was that experience. And then I let the father know that they was switching up because he was there. And I let him know that I went ahead and hired a doula, went ahead and found my doula, hired a doula. And he was like, but you're a doula. And my response to him was like, I know I'm a doula, And he's like thinking like, you could be your own doula. And I'm like, no, I'm emotionally imbalanced right now. It's like, no, when a woman, you know, when a woman becomes pregnant, no matter who she is, she could be a doula or whatever, her body chemistry changes, you know. And so though if I have to advocate for myself, I will, which I had to do during my pregnancy and during my labor, right? But it's nothing like having another woman in the doula profession there with you who is level-minded, who's not in that situation, so she can kind of not tell you what to do, but she can give you advice, paint different scenarios for you, give you things to look at. And so I was letting him know that, and I'm about to go because my little one's waking up, but I was just pretty much letting him know that. And then, you know, we left shortly thereafter. I was so happy I left. Chatted with my new doula that same day, because she was going to come to the ER and meet me there, and we was going to talk there. But being as I was discharged, we just chatted, video chat, and I knew that, you know, I was going to hire. Well, I had already told her she was hired because how she was helping me when I was telling her what was going on with me in the ER, but we just kind of solidified things afterwards. So that was the rest of pretty much the video that's missing. Somehow it stopped recording and I didn't process it during the journey. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed the and pulled some wisdom from journal entry number 2. And I'm going to get up out of here with that. All right, y'all. Peace.